looking at the agenda item, is this a triple net lease, or how does that work with them? Or are there CAM fees, or,
Sorry, are there,
sorry, never mind. Thank you.
All right. That's been offered for the consent agenda, and no objections to that? All right, we'll place it on the consent. Item number 8 is request to adopt the American with Disabilities Act Access, Audit, and Transition Plan. This comes from the Department of Recreation for federal requirements which mandate the accessibility of City of Livonia sites.
thank you, Council President. Again, Ted Davis for Parks and Recreation. What you have before you is a plan that was actually approved by Council previously, Council Resolution 250-20. This was funded from a grant from Healthy Livonia, so no city dollars went to this. Federal requirements mandate the City of Livonia have accessibility for our sites. What I attached is a draft, or is the report, the summarized report of all the findings. This gives us a roadmap to ensure accessibility for our parks and recreation amenities throughout the system, throughout 65 sites and almost 1,400 acres of land. So it's about, I'd be happy to share with council again the 12-page Excel spreadsheet. I printed it out on large paper so I can actually read it all. And what this is simply done is this gives us the areas we need to address that we incorporate into our capital plan, and we need to show progress on this moving forward.
Madam Chair.
I'd be happy to answer any questions council might have on this.
Yes, Councilmember Toy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If I may to Mr. Davis for a minute. Mr. Davis, in that report, because I didn't get to read the whole thing, do we address the ramp coming into City Hall? I've had a lot of complaints about that. You know where I mean?
Yep, I
As
sure do.
Come in the side door there.
Having been in an e-cart here, I sure do.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
What I will say is this report doesn't address all city buildings. It only addresses parks and recreation facilities.
Okay.
So the Senior Center, the Rec Center, Greenmead, Rotary Park, Bicentennial, Ford Field, Clements Circle. It does not address City Hall or the library or DPW or any other city structure or amenity.
Who's gonna do, who's in charge of that? Do we, on the City Hall building itself?
To the best of my knowledge, Councilwoman Toy, would be DPW.
DPW. And then also, as we look at, you know, the ramp coming down here for folks that, you know, and I don't know if you were here that night or not, but we've had a couple instances where it's a little bit more difficult to navigate that area in there. That probably should be looked at as well, I would guess. You know,
If I might, just for council, we came down here the other day, and I walked through with DPW because of the issue we had, and we took a look at that to see if there's something can be done about that situation. So that is, that immediate one that we dealt with at the last meeting is being
Great.
looked at right now.
Great. And can you add to your list that ramp to out front?
Well, I can add it to,
We're on the Parks and Rec
Yeah.
audit right now.
Yeah, I know, but if we don't mention these things during a meeting, sometimes we can't call people, and it's a little difficult, if you know what I mean. So, Madam Chair, so, you know, just a word of kindness. How's that?
Councilmember Jolly.
Thank you, Madam President. Well, I think for a second there, Mr. Davis is worried that he's going to get more responsibilities and he's going to have to oversee more buildings and more operations, but we won't do that to him today. I will acknowledge the foresight that actually doing this takes. You know, we hear that there are problems at large that are not particular in nature, and they kind of come up as one-offs here and there that we hear of. To actually take the time and effort and to find the grant funding to do an inventory of the needs is the first step in terms of addressing any problems that we have. And knowing what the needs are also allow you to have the information available to apply for future grant funding to potentially fix these problems without utilizing taxpayer funds. So again, I will commend you on your efforts. I think you're doing a great job. The Parks and Rec Commission's doing a great job, all of your staff. You know, I think we're headed in the right direction. So if I can't recall, we've been talking for a bit. If there's not a motion yet for consent, I'll offer it.
Thank you, Councilman Jolly.
All right. Councilmember McCullough.
Thank you, Madam President. Through the chair to Mr. Davis, just a couple questions. The items listed, obviously, the 10-year plan and the little over 4.3 mil would address, that addresses pretty much everything that we have in the current parks and everything, correct?
Yes, it does.
The question I do have is, obviously, we're going into budget season. I think phase one was a 5-year. Will we see that coming before us for this coming budget in the FY '22?
So I think probably when we got this report, Councilman McCullough, it was we're well into capital planning for fiscal year '22. What we are going to address is one of the items on there is Bicentennial Playground was an item that was mentioned in there. Parking at Bicentennial was mentioned in there. Those two items will be addressed. What we need to do is show that we're making progress throughout the course. We're not defined by a 5-year or a 10-year or a 20-year plan for, addressing accessibility needs. What we do need to show is that we are consistently working on it. And when we are addressing a park or an area, we are bringing it up to 2008 code.
And even with our current CIP that going forward, they're gonna be including ADA, obviously. So, to do this is a great step, to really taking a proactive rather than being reactive. And I commend you and your staff and Healthy Livonia. I know Councilmember Donovan and I are usually on those Friday meetings, and that's a great team. So all in all, it's a great overall effort. I did have just a few more questions if I can. There was a couple items, I think they were almost bullet points, that I could see. I'm assuming we could jump on them now, but designating someone as a responsible employee, complaint procedure, and a process to make reasonable modifications. Do we have any of those in place?
We are working on those right now.
Okay, cool. That's all I had. Like I said, I dove into the report. It was pretty much where I thought it would be with the amount, but like you said, it's good to keep on rolling on these enhancements. So thank you.
Anyone else? All right, it's been offered for consent, so if there's nothing further, we'll move on to the next item.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And this is a request to accept stormwater facilities maintenance agreements. Comes to us from the Engineering Division from 6 Mile Properties LLC